Welcome to the Spa Business Mastery Podcast. And today is one of those special days where we have Delia Taylor, our Director of Marketing here at Kirsten Foss Coaching, joining us to talk about spa marketing. And today we wanted to bring up the topic about SEO, which is about your website and its search engine optimization. Now, I think for most spas, when we start talking about marketing, the first thing we go to, the easiest thing to talk about is social media. But the fact of the matter is that there's multiple places in your marketing that you need to be placing attention, because you're not going to get all new clients just coming from social media. So we need to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row in other places where consumers can learn about us, get to know us a bit more deeply, maybe go to social and see what we're posting. But essentially, search engine optimization, SEO, helps you to get found by those consumers that are searching for specific services. So it's also one of those marketing aspects that totally overwhelms spa owners, because there's a lot of lingo, digital techie lingo, and it's really easy to just feel like, oh my gosh, I don't understand what is going on, why this, what I need to do. And it's easy just to kind of let it roll right over you. So that's why Delia and I want to make sure that you really understand the power of SEO so that you can pay attention to it and fix a few things if it needs fixing. Now, whether you learn about how to do it yourself or you have somebody do it for you, really this particular podcast is about making sure you understand why SEO marketing is critical for our spa businesses. So Delia, thank you so much for joining us again this month for our spa marketing's little section here that we do. So first of all, let's just name and have you help us understand what is SEO, what is search engine optimization? What does that mean? Because it's thrown around a lot, but I think a lot of times spa owners are like, SEO, I don't understand. And then they just turn their head and look the other way.
Absolutely.
Let's break it down for them.
Sure. And even if you have heard of SEO, you might not, like Kirsten said, you might not really understand, the depths of it and what it can do for your business. And essentially, SEO is how Google or any other search engine, Bing, Yahoo, ranks your website in the search results page. So when somebody comes to, type in their search bar, if they're searching for, a spa in the area or anything specific for their needs, whether it be skin issues, nails, anything like that, hair removal, they're going to do a search first. And if your SEO is on point and optimized, which we'll get into, then you're going to show up on page one of any of the search results page. And that's where you really want to be. Anything after page one on Google, I'll just use Google as an example, because that's the kind of main search engine that we all use. If you don't show up on page one of Google, then you're likely not going to get found. Even if, so I know that many of you obviously have gone on to Google and typed in whatever it is that you're looking for as a consumer.
Even like spa marketing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're going to get a whole list that shows up. You're going to get the top that shows advertising. That's something completely different. And then anything below all of those paid ads, those page search results, is going to be organic. And those are your organic listings. And that's where
organic means not paid. So that's where this search engine optimization comes in. It's not like you have to pay a service for it.
Right.
You can do it yourself. You can do a service, but you're not paying money towards an ad to have your business rank up there.
No, it's completely free. And again, it's based off of your SEO efforts that you put into your own websites. And so when you show up, number one, number two, those are great positions that you want to be in. And even if you show up number 3, 4, and 5 on the page, that actually lowers your chance of somebody clicking on your specific website. So if you have great SEO all meshed into your website, then over time, you will start to rank higher within the search results. And again, like Kirsten just said, it's all free. You don't have to pay for it, but you do have to do your due diligence in order to get that ranking. Mm-hmm. So, and that brings more awareness to your business.
So can you now explain? So that's what SEO is. Can you explain how it works? Like break it down super, super simple terms.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to be an expert in all of this as well too. But I also know that, as a former spa owner myself, I did my own website. And so I didn't have a web designer doing mine. And so SEO is, for myself, I needed to know a little bit more about how it worked versus having an agency do it for me and still understanding the process. So what happens is somebody types into the search bar, and in really lightning speed time, they're called spiders. And little spiders start crawling all these web pages. And so what they're looking for is relevancy. So if you're typing in, Best Spa in Seattle, and obviously a whole bunch of listings are going to come up, when you've got your SEO optimized, they're going to recognize that and they're going to rank you higher so that your page will show up first. And that's basically what they do. And they look for key things to rank you. And so they have a little formula that they do look for.
Okay. So can you explain? I think you have a little list that you want to kind of break down what they're actually what those little robot spiders are looking for in terms of.
Yeah. So what they do is they take note of a couple of things, and we'll just keep this simple for you because there's lots to it. But the main things that they do look for is your title. So, what do your titles say in your website? So does it say, facials, waxing, skincare program? So again, it goes back to what your consumers are typing for, typing into the search results and matching up with your website. So your titles have to match what people are searching
okay,
for.
So, and in terms of like, if you're doing your own website, your titles are like when you go in and highlight a phrase or a title and choose the sizing that you want, often you'll see H1, H2, H3, H4. Those are all, H1 is the biggest, H4 is the smallest. So that's what they pick up on, is those headings, those H1, H2, H3.
And they'll search your whole site for it. So you want to, how you're going to have headings on your website on every page that you have, right? And so that tells the consumer what that page is all about.
So, and I just want to pause you here because this is a good example that I've been noticing with spas. So, so over the past year, like we're doing this podcast, we're a year into COVID. And during this past year, a lot of spas have shifted over into virtual skin consultations, virtual facials, kind of like online skin coaching. And where they're like, so when they add that service, they're adding it to their facial menu. But the headline on that is facials. Right. So if they were wanting to get seen more if somebody's typing in virtual skin or virtual facials, they actually would want to have a separate heading for virtual skin consultation, virtual facial, so that it picks up that's how it works.
Definitely. Yes.
So sometimes it's just a matter of rearranging your menu on your website so that it can pick up things a little bit better.
Yep. The other thing that they look for are keywords. So what keywords are, and they say long tail keywords. So long tail keywords are, think of it as when you search for a hashtag, you're kind of typing in a sentence, right? So when you go to a Google search page, some people will type in facials, but a lot of people are looking for something specific. So long tail keywords are, virtual skin consultations near me. That would be a long tail keyword. And so what you want to do is within your website copy, so throughout your whole website, is make sure that those relevant keywords that people are searching for are in your website copy. And so that's one of the other pieces that they look for. They also look for description tags. So they want to learn what your site is about. So if you had your website title, what happens is if you go on to Google, you'll see the website title, and then you'll see a short little description underneath it as well too. So that connects that title to a description. So it describes what if they were to click on that link, because oftentimes you'll if you go on to search, you'll start seeing home, right? You'll see, XYZ spa home. You'll see XYZ spa services. You might even see XYZ spa Facebook page, right? So the description underneath those titles is going to let the consumer know what it is that they'll be clicking on. And so they're going to expect that when they click on that link, that the information is there.
Yeah.
Really.
And I noticed that with a lot of spas that have done their own website, that some of those little pieces are often missing. So
Yes.
I wanted to do a quick screen share and share with our spa owners where they find that website description so that you can change it. All right, so I'm just gonna do a quick screen share here. I'm gonna use my website as an example. So this is a Squarespace site. This is, we're almost ready to transition over into our new site, but not quite yet. So where you find the place for the SEO for the page is you would pick any page and go to settings. And it usually splits it up into multiple headings here. And you want to go to the SEO section. So this is what what Delia is talking about describing your business. So on mine, I have systems or self-care for spa owners. Which ones do you need? But we can totally, you can change it to whatever and test it out, I would imagine, to Delia to see if things are improving too. So that's where you would, you can go into here and you edit it. So this is another thing.
We'll get into, this is part one. So we'll get into part two, and we'll actually give you in part two, we'll give you a little bit more detail as to, because there are certain character counts as well too.
So right here is the SEO site description that, it's got, it counts how many character counts. So you make sure you've got enough in there.
Because if you have too much, then what's going to happen is it just gets cut off. And so you always want to have your most relevant, your most important information right at the very beginning as well too. So that if you do have a little bit more info that you want to include, at least the key points are right there. So that's essentially those three areas is really what those spiders do crawl. And then based off of, so they kind of compile all of that information together based on your titles, your descriptions, and your keywords, and they put it all together and then they rank you. And again, that all happens behind the scenes in lightning speed, and then they're going to show you those results that come up. And if you've got all of your SEO in line, then the likeliness is that you're going to be moved up on that results page.
Okay, perfect. So, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I want you to be really clear to our spa owners why SEO is so critical. Like there's three kind of pillars to this that I know you wanted to share.
Yeah, well, what the three pillars that they look for. So again, back to your titles, keywords, and descriptions. They're crawling for that, but really what they're looking for within that is expertise. So are you giving your audience enough information about your brand, and is the information accurate? So if you've got that title and that description on there, and they go to your page and it's completely off, then those spiders are going to say, nope, that is not expertise information, and you're likely going to get dinged for that.
So I have a question. So one of the things I notice with a lot of spa websites is that their service descriptions are often very vague, meaning they're kind of using vague terms for outcomes, like it's, a rejuvenating facial, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of using buzzwords and not really explaining what the outcome, like the features and the benefits of a service. Does that make a difference in terms of SEO?
Does, yeah, and those would be your long tail keywords.
Okay.
So those are the keywords that, so if you did have acne skin program, right, and your description of it didn't use those, and you don't splash them all throughout, you want to use them within that description. Every single word doesn't need to be about that. You want to make sure that you're including some of those top search keywords that your consumers are looking for. So again, just getting very, very, very relevant to what it is that you're offering. So yeah, so it definitely will. The other part is authority, and now this is a little bit maybe not used as much specifically for us spa owners, but the authority is what happens is when somebody else, another industry expert or somebody in the industry links your links with their content. So they're sharing your links. So if you wrote a blog, or you did a podcast and somebody else thought, oh, that's really great information that I'm going to share with my viewers, that now starts ranking you according to search. That ranks you as an authority because now other people are sharing your information. And so that indicates that your information is expert level and it's relevant. So
there's so much opportunity in our industry still for authority. And unfortunately, there's so many of our industry that suffer with imposter syndrome. And that's exactly, it kind of just throttles any and a desire to start blogging or do your own skin podcast, because all of a sudden your inner critic is rearing its ugly head and saying, who are you to do this? And, do you actually know anything? And, all the garbage that our inner critic tells us. Yet, there's a multi-billion industry of influencers who have zero experience in or wellness. It's just their own.
People listen to them. Yeah.
And people listen to them. So, the world is so ripe for your expertise. It's so ripe and ready. It needs it so badly because there has been an overrun of people that don't know what they're talking about. So this is my little rah-rah cheerleader moment for those of you that have been thinking about writing a blog or starting up your own podcast. But your inner critic is just being a total jerk on your shoulder. That give them a flick off and say, if other people can do it, I can do it. This isn't rocket science.
That's right. And we are experts, right? We absolutely are. You talk to your clients every single day and they keep coming back for more of you.
That's what I mean. There's been, you guys have proven over and over and over and over that you guys are experts in the treatment room. It's just that inner critic gets in the way of sharing that knowledge publicly.
Exactly.
On your
website. You're comfortable within your own little space. And as soon as that little comfort level starts opening up, right? But at the same time, I mean, it can also happen by default. Somebody could just pick it up, right? And because you start pumping that stuff out and you start getting noticed by it, then you are going to, start getting noticed. You're going to be positioned more as an expert and people are going to want to hear more about it.
Yeah, so it does kind of snowball because, once you start creating content like blogs or video vlogs or podcasts, there's a lot of companies out there looking for information to share. Yeah. So what you'll find is that things all of a sudden, if you're consistent at your blogging, you're going to get noticed. Even if you don't do anything, if you don't share it with anybody else except for on your blog and on your website and you've SEO optimized it, but people will start to notice if you're consistent with that. And then it starts getting shared.
And then again, the search results or those little spiders, they start seeing you as expert and relevant and they rank you higher. That's one other one. The other part that they look for is trustworthiness. A lack of trust, as we know, can damage your business, but it can also damage your SEO rankings. So if you have, negative reviews, or you've got customer complaints, or your website isn't secure, then that shows those crawlers that your website isn't trustworthy. And so you need to really, those three: expertise, authority, and trustworthiness are the three components that you need to tie into making your SEO work, so that Google can, or whoever can very easily see what it is that you're doing, see that you're relevant, see that you're an expertise, and see that those keywords in there is really what people are looking for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I think Delia did a great job of kind of breaking that all down and explaining it into layman's terms, because even myself, for years, I'd been working kind of in the online space, and SEO was kind of one of those pieces of my marketing that it was overwhelming because I didn't quite understand how to create a lot of change with it. And I had so many other things in my business that was needing my priority. So I totally get how this hasn't been on most spas' radar. SEO marketing. But, you know, if you've got your system down for your social media management and you've got your system down for your sending out your email marketing and creating that content, I would like to suggest that you pick another kind of marketing project to create a system with. And maybe it's SEO marketing. That's your next bet, because if you are needing new eyeballs on your business, that's a pretty good flag in the play that something needs some attention in terms of your SEO marketing.
The thing with SEO as well too is it doesn't happen overnight. So it does take time to build, and it's something that you want to, you know, keep going back in and checking, whether it be every quarter, just or a couple times a year. Just go back in and just check that all of your descriptions are, you know, give your own website a little SEO audit and just go through it and just see maybe where you're missing some of the things that we talked about today, and just double check. I mean, that's a good place to start. You may be in your website being like, oh shoot, I don't have a description even in this. And again, in part 2, we will get into kind of an SEO checklist and go a little bit deeper into what that looks like.
So like we definitely want our spa owners to get crawled by those bots, right? So Delia's actually put together an SEO checklist for our spa owners. And we're going to be sharing that with you and going through it with you next month with our spa marketing with Delia. Awesome. So if you are recognizing a lot of red flags here in your own website and SEO marketing, if you know you don't have time or even really care to learn about SEO marketing, that's something that we do here at Kirsten Foss Coaching in our sister company, Virtual Spa Business Management, and where Delia leads the team on that one. So if you want somebody to do your SEO for you on your website, then absolutely reach out to us and we can have a conversation about kind of what that's going to look like in terms of the scope of that project. So there's lots of solutions. You can do it yourself, you can teach yourself, or you can farm it out. Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on Spa Business Mastery Podcast, our marketing edition for the month. If you like what you hear, we'd love it if you left a review on whatever platform that you are listening in. And we will see you back here next week. Thanks again. We'll see you then.
Bye.